Shalom and good day all. This is the Healing 29 back again, and I'll say one thing, it has certainly been quite a while since my last live stream. I hope things can be heard a-okay that end, because I will be moving into my actual review of seeing the movie. I've got some things prepared. Just to show, yes, I did actually see the movie. So here's just one thing, and this is a receipt connecting to what I actually got to see in cinema here in Australia, and here's another receipt, and this is connecting to the cinema to which I got to see it at. So of course, the next thing is moving into the review itself. And I do hope there were quite a number of people who also enjoyed seeing the movie. Now, I do want to get a bit of a poll up in the chat to anyone who happens to pass by. So whilst I'm working on that, feel free to vote away and get your votes in. Did you enjoy the movie or did you not enjoy the movie? And I think that's something that's worth finding out about. And if there were things that you enjoyed, share them in the chat. Share them right now, or even share them after the live stream if you end up missing the live stream. So first of all, a big thanks to every one of my subscribers who subscribe to the channel, as I cannot do this without you. So what about the topic of the movie itself? Now, one thing that I did to sort of prepare myself before going to see the movie, I want to give a bit of a big thanks to the big thanks and shout out to the History Behind the Warrior channel, because they actually did a non-spoiler review, and I didn't know what to think going in. I know I've also watched the Mortal Kombat reboot movie, and I can understand the pros and cons as to why people enjoyed certain things about it and why they didn't enjoy certain things about it. I do agree that the best things sort of like about the first movie was actually the stuff in relation to Hanzo Hattori, I think it was. Well, the character who plays Spawn and also Sub-Zero, that was really good. And you can certainly see that they did take some elements again from the first one and applied it into this one. Of course, they took a lot of good elements, but they also still carried over with some minor mistakes here and there. So back again, just to showing my receipts to seeing the movie. And now let's move into my actual review. So as we can see here, I decided to put up a bit of a cast of characters. And there were actually quite a number of characters that were actually seen in this movie. Some returning characters and some new characters. So we got to see Sonya Blade, Bihan, who is also Sub-Zero / Nusabot. Next is Scorpion, Katana, Jade, Kano, Jax, Quan Chi, Shang Tsung. Of course, we had Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Shao Kahn, Raiden, Baraka, who was actually quite interesting. Of course, the return of Cole Young. We had Sindel, who had been risen back from the dead a number of times within the story. talk about plot armor for that. But of course, that wouldn't have been able to happen without Quan Chi being there. We also had Kung Lao as well as Jared, and there was also a mention of Raiko there. We didn't quite get to really see the character, but it would have been nice to sort of like see more of him. So moving into the first act. So this is what I've got written down, and I do intend to expand a little bit more upon it. And that is, as we move into Act 1, the story begins with the backstory of how Adenia lost to Shao Kahn, with Katana, Sindel, and Sherrod as they plunge into darkness at their loss, or at the loss of Jared. Moving into the present day, we see an older Katana fighting with with Jade as her bodyguard. That has been set for her by Shao Kahn. As we finally move into the Earth realm, we, of course, do get to see what the Earth realm warriors are doing until we are finally introduced to Johnny Cage. And things slowly begin to change for Johnny himself, as he is now being chosen by the Outer Gods. And it's very clear within the story that the Outer Gods have chosen him. And we sort of learn a little bit later on as to why he was chosen. And so it gives the character time to grow within in the story, to participate in the tournament. And after this, we do get some like flashback type scenes, or in this case, we do get to see some footage like connecting to Johnny Cage when he was in cinema as an actor. And we do get to see that sort of like take place once again in the movie. Until, of course, Raiden and Sonya turn up. And not long after that, we are introduced to Quan Chi and, of course, the return of Shang Tsung, to even the return of Kano, who is actually brought back to life by Quan Chi. And we learn that he carries the amulet of Shinnok, to which they are trying to use the amulet of Shinnok to give some more power to the character of Shao Kahn. So as we start to move on to part 2, this actually sort of felt more like the second act, as we did begin to move into the tournament. And in the tournament, we got to see Johnny Cage versus Katana. Sonya versus Sindel. And of course, somewhere within that time period, we do actually get to see Shao Kahn against Cole Young. And of course, to those who have seen the movie, they know what happened to the character. So I'm not going to give full spoilers, but so after the fights are finished, we do learn Katana has a connection to Raiden via a pendant that was given to her by her biological father. And you do actually see that in Act 1. And she uses that to sort of like be in contact with Raiden until, of course, something occurs with Raiden himself within the story, and he's sort of like left in a bit of a coma of sorts. We do get to see the character of Kung Lao. Of course, we do return to see Liu Kang. And a little bit later on, we do also get to see Baraka. And that moves into Act 3. So as we move into Act 3, we see the Earthrealm warriors enter the realm of Adenia, which has been taken over by Shao Kahn, whilst other warriors go to the Netherrealm seeking the help of Scorpion to recover the amulet of Shinnok to destroy it. And around this time period, we also have Shao Kahn, who has obtained immortality through the amulet, and now it's sort of like a fight to remove that immortality from him. I did enjoy the fight with Cole Young that he had in the second act. And I was thinking about it recently. The actor for Cole Young, I think he actually might be better for a different Mortal Kombat character. And I'll come to that after I reach my overall review, because I didn't actually get to mention it in my overall review, but I'll get to do it now. Get to do it when I reach it. So we also, and with the power of the amulet, Quan Chi and their allies also seek to overthrow the Earthrealm by a bit of deception. And in this time, we do actually get to see some fights between Johnny Cage and Baraka, even though originally it sort of like gave the impression that it was going to be Liu Kang versus Baraka, but they wanted Big Mouth Johnny, so they got Big Mouth Johnny. We also got Jackson Jade, to which he spared his opponent. And then we had Liu Kang versus Kung Lao in their particular arena, to which they had their fight. We also had further fights with Shao Kahn and Kitana, plus fights taking place in the Netherrealm with Nu Sabat, Kano, Nu Sabat, Scorpion, Johnny Cage, and Jade eventually destroying the power of the amulet, and finally ending Shao Kahn, and also playing a role in ending Shao Kahn's rule over Odenia. Towards the end, we get the closest thing to a post-credit scene to where we see Johnny Cage telling the story of his place in the tournament of Mortal Kombat, as they now seek more warriors to what comes next. So for my overall review for this movie, I definitely think they did learn from the previous movie mistakes and made some course corrections. But I do wonder where they will take things in Mortal Kombat 3, as Shao Kahn is now defeated. Will the next story be a side story as a lead up in the Mortal Kombat 3, which I think could possibly work? Could they do something like a Mortal Kombat mythology story? Even if it's, say, a 90-minute film for like a bit of a side story. As for the performance of the actors for the characters, I really enjoyed the setup from the beginning, middle, which was definitely interesting, and the end did actually catch me by surprise. My only negative in this is I think they could have improved on the Netherrealm appearance, and also sort of like use the characters in relation to the Netherrealm. So it would have been nice to see how Quan Chi runs the Netherrealm. Yes, we did get to see Scorpion in the Netherrealm, but one thing we don't get to see is sort of like how the Netherrealm was actually run. And I think that could have actually opened up a little bit more in relation to Quan Chi's character. And it might even open up a door as to who maybe the next big boss will be. As yes, it did actually feel like a bit of a missed opportunity in the event. And I would have liked to have seen more in that area. It was good seeing the fight between Nu Sabat and Scorpion. That definitely stood out. My favorite fights, if I were to put up in relation to this story, Ooh, okay. If I were to go top 3 fights in relation to this story, all right. I definitely enjoyed the King Jared and Shao Kahn fight. Yes, it was a beginning story, and it did actually show how brutal Shao Kahn can actually be. Um, Even through all the events that he has sort of like, we do learn that he's a general. We do learn that he wants to take over Adenia, and Adenia he does. And with that, that would definitely be my first. I think the next fight, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to say it: Shao Kahn versus Cole Young. Love me or hate me. Yeah, I did like that fight. But I really do feel that the actor for Cole Young would actually be better for the role of for Kenshi, who is like the blind fighter. I think that would probably be best suited for him, not the role that he actually took. But a lot of their values actually are very much similar, much the same. Because one actually relies upon like a bit of an heirloom legacy. If you were to look at the latest game, we know that there's a bit of an heirloom legacy in relation to a sword. And I think that actually would work better for him than the character choice that he was given. For the third fight, I'd probably have to say when it was the Kitana versus Shao Kahn. But after like his fight with Liu Kang, because with that you did actually get to see the end of his rule. So last but not least, moving into my rating for this particular movie. For the main characters, I really enjoyed who they sort of like chose for the main characters in this. Of course, we had Johnny Cage, we had Liu Kang. Liu Kang definitely stood out. I think he probably stood out more in this one than what he did in the previous. We also had now 7.5 for the main characters. Next is the supporting characters, to which I give a 7. The soundtrack, I really think could have maybe improved a little bit more. As for the visual side of things, I give it a 7 out of 10. And my overall rating for this movie is a 7.5 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colorful and have yourself an awesome day.